Boom Z, a conversation between generations. With a changing world today, it's become exceedingly important that there be a relationship between all generations. We live in an ever-changing world, and it will take the strengths of all generations to make a positive impact on our society.
And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Boom Z Podcast. My name is Slammin' Sammy Hamlin.
And I'm Nina Jabril, and this is the conversation between generations. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you ever have any questions you want us to answer, or do you want to be on the show, you can contact us at askus@boomzpodcast.com. Holla. So today we are joined by a very successful Gen Z. Her name is Faith Gordon. She is the field supervisor for the South Central region for CCC Intelligent Solutions. Now that's a big title.
Yeah.
So explain to us and the viewers what you do.
So I am a regional field supervisor. So I have a certain region it's the South Central region, but it's really just Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. What we do in my department alone is we create total loss comparables for insurance companies. So like if you crash your car, you get a check. We're the people you get the data from to figure out how much that check is supposed to be, see how much the cars are appreciated for.
Okay. Yeah. So you the price lady,
basically, like the middleman in between the insurance and the people who write the check, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So big responsibility.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it sometimes. I'll be honest. Like I have a big title, and sometimes I even forget. Like it doesn't feel like a big deal, but it kind of is, because we're contracted just about every insurance company except for Progressive. They do their own thing.
Okay, so you're independent. The company is basically a contractor for insurance companies.
Mm-hmm. And we do bigger things too. Like we create body parts for cars and stuff like that. Like I said, this is just my department. So we're based out of Chicago, Dallas, Sioux Falls, and in California. Mm-hmm. So there's a bunch of other stuff going on in the company too that I don't even know much about because I've only been with them for a year. Mm-hmm. But it's huge. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you work from home?
It's hybrid. So since I'm over those 4 states, I do have to travel because I have about 36 employees now. So I have to travel to see them. So that's kind of like working from home, but I do have to report to them. But since I'm single, young Gen Z, they send me anywhere because most of my, other employees, well, people that are on the same level as me, they're all in their 50s, have kids and a husband, wife, and stuff. So they're like, if we need to send you to Chicago, are you down? I'm like, oh, yeah. Like,
of course. Okay, so that goes into my first question is, like, what is it like being a Gen Z and employing boomers and Gen X? So, like, most of your employees are older than you.
Mm-hmm. Every one of them, just about, except for like 2.
Wow.
Literally, yeah.
So, what is that like? Is it hard to, like, get them to listen? Because we've heard, up until today, every other guest we had were, like, older, employing younger Gen Zs. But you're the first. So, what is that like?
Employing boomers, I'm not. Well, I'll start with Gen X, I guess. Isn't that bad because I look at them more like my parents. Mm-hmm. So it's not that bad, and they're still on a level of technology because this is a big tech company. So when it comes to Gen X, they're at least a little bit knowledgeable. I mean, they didn't grow up with a device in their hand, but they at least know and have taught themselves. Now, boomers are just off the charts with the technology. They don't get it at all. And I was a teacher at one point, and I needed more patience for this than I did
teaching Gen Z, mind you. So.
Yes, yeah, or Gen A. Some of them were
Alpha, yeah.
That I was teaching, but the boomers I have to have even more patience with than I did the kids. Like them iPads, because we just got this new project where we're doing Honda audits and everything, and they have to do it on an iPad. They do not get it.
They don't get it.
And it doesn't matter how many times you go down there and you do it step by step. We've created these tutorials. It doesn't matter.
Nothing.
But Gen X are usually a little bit easier because they're easier to relate to because, we're closer in age, obviously.
We've talked to several people, bosses on the show, and they don't have the same issues because most of the companies the ones that have been technology based basically don't hire older. They don't have many older people working. So it's I get it. I always said I think I'm one of the
Lucky
exceptions
Yeah.
to boomers, but that's basically because of the field of work I'm in. You know, my question to you: I know the boomers are harder to get it. How is their attitude toward learning it?
Their attitude toward learning it is very like they're easily to adapt. I will say, yeah, like they want to learn. Is basically what I'm saying. It's just like they don't get it, so it takes a lot of patience. Like you can't be one of those people that doesn't know how to teach people and be in this type of job. Like you have to have patience and be able to be like, okay, it's this step and then this step. And for us, it's like, to me, it's like second nature. Like I click on this phone every day and do stuff, so it like gets annoying sometimes. But I have to dial back and be like, these people didn't even see a phone until they were in their 50s, you know?
Yeah.
Because some of my employees are like 70, so yeah, some of them didn't even see a phone until they were like 50 years old. So it's like you have to be a little bit, you know, more gracious.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't around. You know. So, but.
What's the difference though? Like from, and I liked how you brought up teaching, and then she was also a manager at, or were you, was it?
At Kirkland's,
Yeah, it was a manager at Kirkland, so you were employing older people there too.
I've always worked with older people actually, except for teaching. I've always worked with older people.
So what would you prefer though?
Older people.
Older people?
I can't lie. Yeah,
Why?
I prefer older people.
Yeah, why?
Because they're, like I said, they're more open, and also they're very more communicative. I will say that. Like whenever I've hired Gen X, which I have a couple of times, they'll ghost me out of nowhere and just be like, "Don't show up to work. Don't text me back. I'm blocked for some reason. I never did anything." Yes. So like, I feel like at least the boomers will be like, "Hey, this just isn't working out for me. I want to give you that, you know, gracious, you know, like to tell me whatever." But Gen X, they'll just, or Gen Z, excuse me, I'm getting them all confused. They'll just block you, and won't report.
And I remember one time we're friends, so people know. We were at the beach, and you had an employee call you, and he talked to her on the phone for like 45 minutes.
That's another thing,
explaining so they are communicative. I give you that.
Who was this? A Gen?
He was a boomer.
Okay, okay.
And he talked slow for one, bless his heart, but like he really told her his whole life story, and it was just a funny.
That's another thing that I enjoy when it comes like outside of work, like the relationships I make with the older people are a lot better than the ones I make with the young people, which you would think it would be opposite because you don't think we have that much in common. But I was raised by my grandmother, basically, both of them. So I have like, I don't know, a soft spot for older people. And so like we talk a lot more. Like that one guy she was just talking about, he calls me once a week. We have an hour conversation every single time. And he's just telling me like about his mom, his wife, his son, because I employed his son now. And we're family. And it's nice. It's nice to have those types of conversations and connections with your employees that you can't have with.
Do you think that is the turnover ratio more with the Gen Zs and I would guess that older folk, when they get a job, they don't like to bounce around, and it's harder to get a job when you're older. You know, especially in the technology field if you're not on it. So, what's your experience with the turnover ratio?
Definitely, turnover is higher with the younger crowd. Like I'll joke around sometimes. I hate it's gonna sound like discriminatory, but I'd be like, I don't hire Gen Zs anymore, like young people. Like sometimes
you are a traitor.
I know. It's a joke. It's a joke. But like the turnover is higher, and that affects my numbers. Like whenever I hire Gen Z people, they'll ghost me or they just won't text me back, and they just disappear, and then I have to rehire. And you know, it costs more to rehire someone than just keep them. My boomer employees have been with the company longer than I have. Some of them 20 years working this part-time job. Yeah. So
if you got two people, a boomer and a Gen Z, and you're gonna, in your mind, you're gonna figure the Gen Z technology wise, it's gonna be a little. Which one are you gonna lean to hire?
Be honest.
And that I don't want to put you on the spot.
Boomer, yeah. It's like I said, just because the Gen Z, in my experience with hiring, Kirkland's and at this job has been they just disappear, or they'll just quit on a dime. They won't give a notice and everything. And like when I hate to say that when I was younger because I'm not but when I was younger I didn't even do that, so like I just can't relate. Like when I was 19 I wasn't just leaving jobs and
no
not
call,
telling,
no shows and
yeah
stuff.
no, so I don't understand that mindset either, so it irritates me. So in my head I'm like, I'll just avoid that completely and go with the boomer because I know they probably won't do that, but I won't say they haven't.
Yeah,
I have had a couple too that have like just ghosted me as well, but it's just more common with younger people.
yeah.
I have to ask because I'm curious. Do they ever give you like pushback or like attitude because you're younger?
Yes, I got that more at Kirkland's, just because it was a lot of older women, so that was a little bit different than dealing with older men. Older women would look at me like, "What do you know? Like you're just so young." I guess I don't know. Like I used to have an assistant at Kirkland's, and like I would try to tell her stuff and she would think it was better this way, and argue with me about it. And at some points I just have to be like, at the end of the day, this is my job. Okay? Like I know that you've probably been doing this longer than me because you've been alive longer than me and you haven't been in this field, but this is me, like this is mine. So you have to kind of put your foot down a little bit, but with men not as much. No.
And you probably don't get that from the Gen Zs either because they don't really care.
No, they don't care.
The power structure is not.
And same thing with Gen X. Like you don't really get it from Gen X either. They don't really care. It's just like the boomers, and I mean, a lot of the time though, I let them teach me because like they want that. Like I have a couple of employees who don't have grandkids, and so they kind of see me like that. So they'll try to talk to me and teach me things. And to be fair, a lot of them have been in this position longer than I have, so I can learn. So I just let them talk.
You just let them talk.
Yeah, I don't take it to heart. I try not to.
Do you get much advice from boomers as far as personal interaction and not so much job related? If I'm being clear,
Like them
about
being
it.
on their phones or something?
No. I mean, like if someone gives you advice on how to. Well, maybe if you told her to do it like this, you wouldn't get a problem from it. That kind of thing.
Yeah, more so whenever I was at Kirkland's because that was my first like real manager job where I was like in charge of people. And one of my assistant, actually, I was just speaking about, she worked in Pier 1 for a really long time, which was a similar type of company. And so she would give me a lot of pointers, and like I said, I would let her talk. Like I'm not going to argue with somebody if they do know more than me. So yeah, they would give me a lot of pointers on like, hey, maybe it'd be better to approach the situation this way, because I mean a lot of things are like about work, but sometimes like people have their own health issues going on, personal stuff, and so whenever you're a manager you have to be very sensitive to those things. So she would give me pointers about that.
I think you're a very mature.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're not typical.
Thank you.
You're not like me, is what he's saying. Very much. You
Well, no. It's just that your life experience is a little different. You've been in the workforce longer,
Yeah.
and been at that level of a position at the places you've worked. You've had a little more experience, and you've been smart enough to me just meeting you to absorb the good parts of it and take it in as a positive thing to try to help you do your job, you know. So I think that's great. I really
Thank
do.
you.
That's coming from a real boomer.
So I appreciate that. I do tell people that all the time, like I am a little bit more mature for my age, and I think that's why I can deal with these types of things and deal with older people. Again, being raised by my grandparents is probably mostly why I act like this, is just because I was always around older people. But yeah.
Now, there's a reason you're like this. What do you attribute it to, as far as your upbringing, whether it be your family, your education? What do you attribute it to?
I think
that's a tough question.
That is a tough question, yeah, because there's so many things. Yeah, I think growing up fast, not to get too deep, but
Period.
yeah,
Let's
growing
get
up,
there.
having to grow up fast. I'm the oldest daughter, so I think that says it in a nutshell right there. I'm the eldest daughter. I have two little brothers, so like kind of playing mom at sometimes, like having to be that person definitely made me have to be more mature way earlier, and being the first one to do everything. Like I was the first one to go to college and the first one to have to go out in the job force, and like my mom went to college and stuff, but she in the 80s, so it's just different. So having to figure out all that stuff on my own, and then
Were you pushed by your parents? Not pushed.
Not
you
really.
just self-motivated.
I mean, my mom always made it seem like it was talked about like it was an option, basically going to college. But it was never like forced. Like I never felt that pressure at all from anybody but myself. Like it was all inner, like I have to do better, type of thing.
All right.
No, and you've always been that. Like, she's like the mom of the friend group. When you were in a sorority, you were like the
vice president stuff.
Vice president stuff. Like, she's always been
I go hard, Anything I do, I'm like, I gotta be the best at it.
Yeah.
Which is a blessing and a curse, because then when you go out somewhere and you're not good at something, you feel so defeated,
What month were you born?
August, I'm a Leo. My birthday
It was
like 2 days
Wednesday.
ago.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Yeah, I'm a Leo.
big 2-6.
Yeah. Well, it's you sound like you really got a handle on your job, your life, your direction. It's really refreshing.
Thank you.
And I say that
Refreshing.
for
It's
me,
crazy.
but because as an employer and having to deal, like I said, Nina will tell you, 80% of the people that work for me are millennials, are the old people in my organization for the most part.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of Gen Z. So I've had to transition a lot and kind of modify my way of thinking to motivate, get along, that kind of.
And then also with Mr. Sam, he employs a lot of interns, like, so they're still in college, so they have
very
that
young, yeah.
they have the like, I don't low-key need this, but I need it type attitude. So like,
See, I hate that.
Yeah.
and like he will send them home, like he will be like, get out.
Yeah. 'Cause you don't need this. Why are you here?
Yeah. But that it's not all the way across the board.
Yeah.
You get some good ones mixed in. That's why this is refreshing to hear your story. It
Yeah.
really is. So
Well, thank you. Yeah. Took a lot of work to get here, but here we are.
So do you have any advice you'd give to like a boomer or a Gen X working under someone younger than them?
I guess
Or do you have any advice for a Gen Zer who's employing any boomers or Gen X?
Well, I do have advice, I guess, for like Gen X boomers. Like, just like, we do know a little bit. We know something, okay? Yeah,
That's why we're here.
Yeah, that's why we're here, and that's why I'm employed. Like, I'm not in this position because I don't know anything,
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing, just to give it a little bit more grace, I guess. And same thing on the other side, give it more grace for Gen X who are hiring people that are older than them. Like, they know more than you too. It's like it goes the same way. Like, we both can learn something from each other is basically what I'm saying. So it doesn't always have to come with so much like malice, I guess.
And I think that's really cool because that's basically the same theme we've gotten from everybody we've talked to. Because even when we had a lady named Kia Walsh
yes.
on here, and she's Gen X, and she employs a lot of Gen Zers, and she was like, you got to just take, like, it's a give and take type thing. So that's really just the overall like synopsis of it. all.
Don't get like the power in your head. I think that happens a lot with like Gen Zers who get into high positions of power really quickly. The power goes to their head and they're like, oh, now I'm in charge of you, so I can tell you what to do. Like, bro, just let them do their job.
Yeah.
Like, let it happen too. So
You understand Gen Zs because you are one.
yeah, I think I'm like the very first year after millennial, 98, 97.
So you gap that bridge between the two.
Yeah.
Now, you're a young manager. In a few years, alphas are going to be coming in.
Yeah, I'm scared.
No, I'd be scared of them too.
Very scared
Like
of
they're scared because you taught them too. So
Yeah.
Why you think you'd be scared of them?
Can we get real?
Yeah.
They're not very smart. And it's not their fault. It's because of COVID.
Yeah.
It's so scary. Like, I was teaching 9th graders, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and they can't read or write. So it's just, that was in 2022. So hopefully something, has changed in the past 2 years where
Wait a
they've
minute.
ramped up. But
Back up.
yeah.
14 or 15 years and could not read or
Had
write?
never had never read a book out loud. I was the first person that had ever made them read a book out loud, some of them. Yeah.
oh, that's crazy.
So that's like a little scary to me.
COVID was 19, right? It was 1 year.
They were out maybe like 2 school years though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
Like
they're, or maybe a school year and a half.
Year and a half, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know but most kids start reading when they're 5 or 6.
Yeah.
That would have been before COVID.
Yeah, that's also true.
And they still can.
You know, so you can't blame reading and writing on
Yeah,
COVID.
I guess that's true.
I'm sorry.
That's funny that you say that because that's just what I always said. I was like, oh, COVID babies, but really they were babies.
No, they weren't babies.
They
You know.
should have.
So someone failed them before. But
I'd
I
put
think
that
it's
on.
the iPads and the computers, and kind of like what Lisa Smith said last episode. She was like, they use it as consumptive, I think. She was like, they just consume it instead of working with the technology.
yeah, they don't see words. And
Yeah.
and that sounds silly, but that's a big deal when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You have to see the words. You can't just hear them.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's scary.
Yeah, I made him read Romeo and Juliet. I thought I was gonna, whoo, child.
It was too much.
Because that's what we read because we went to high school together. So that's what we read in 9th grade. So I was like, I'm just going to do the same thing I did when I was in 9th grade. And it was easy. It was fun. And they enjoyed it, but they couldn't read it. They were so confused, especially with, the old timey words. We had to read the Cliff Notes version.
The Americanized.
Yeah.
It is so scary to think of that generation. I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know what the future is going to bring. I guess we'll have to survive, but
Yeah.
I think that education is so key to where our nation is going to be in 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was in a bad spot too. I will say that. It was a rougher spot of Greensboro. So it was a different experience. If I were probably, somewhere else, I would have had a better one. But yeah, they were all
Well,
baddies and
I wouldn't say that because Cass, when she did 6th grade at in what's it called, Mecklenburg, and she was in like a upper scale neighborhood, they still couldn't
the
read.
same way?
She was like, but I guess you could put that more to COVID babies because they were in 6th grade, and then so they were done in like 4th grade is the last time they were in a classroom coming up. But she was like, they can't read.
But the 4th grade,
they're supposed to
supposed to know how to read. Yeah, that's what I'm
I guess
saying.
that's true. But she was like, they would spell like radio. They'd put they couldn't spell basic words like that.
Oh yeah, because I would make my kids do journal every Wednesday or something like that, where they'd write about their week or whatever, and trying to decipher what they were trying to say on those papers.
and I'm not going to, but I think that early learning, you can't put that all on the schools.
No,
The kids that learn, I mean, I want to go back to Anne Marie. Her mother made her read a book
Yeah.
when she was 5 and write.
And I also feel like, well, I don't know. I'm not in elementary school and middle school or high school anymore, or shoot, college. I'm old, okay? but when we were in elementary school, we had you remember Star or whatever, where we had to read books and it was like a competition and you got pizza parties. I don't think they do stuff like that anymore. They
Yeah.
do modules on computers, and I think that's what pushed people to read. That's what got me in reading.
Yeah, it made it a competition. Yeah,
And it was fun, and you had stuff to win, and it just made it enjoyable. They don't do that no more.
Well, I think we got a long way to go. I really do. We got to fix a lot of things, so we'll just have to. You all have to deal with it.
We got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
I am nervous.
Yeah.
Nah, but thank you so much for coming, Faith.
Of course.
I appreciate it. I hope you have fun.
Yes, this is so cool.
It was. And to everyone watching, thanks again. This is the Boomsy Podcast, a conversation between generations. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions or want to be on the show, you can contact us at askus@boomsypodcast.com.
Thank you. We'll see you later, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
It's a TEM joint.